Trump has unveiled his Middle East peace plan.
The president unveiled his version of a Mideast peace plan with Israeli.
So President Donald Trump has presented a document after 3 years' work that he says is a peace plan.
Welcome back to Middle East Tonight. Donald Trump finally released his Israel-Palestine peace plan, known as the deal of the century. And it's a deal between Israel and the Trump administration. And I know you might be thinking like, wait, hold on, this was supposed to be a deal between Israel and the Palestinians. Yeah, you thought wrong. The Palestinians were not in this deal. They were not even in the room when the deal was presented. There are literally zero Palestinians in the room. Something that became obvious when Bibi Netanyahu said, oh, did you guys see the delegates from the UAE and Oman? And it's like, yeah, exactly right. No Palestinians. What kind of Israel-Palestine peace deal forgets about the Palestinians? Like, sir, I ordered meatballs and spaghetti. This is just meat. Like meat squares. Who are these people serving meat in squares? So this deal was crafted by the US in close collaboration with Israel. The plan was announced in the White House by the US and Israel. And the plan was delayed. Its release was delayed multiple times because of Israel's elections. And of course, the terms of the agreement themselves are between the US and Israel. The US is recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Jordan Valley, and in return, Israel has to freeze settlement construction for 4 years. I'm like, it's gonna take them 4 years just to figure out how to annex all these Israeli settlements. It's like, wait, hold on. There's this territory called the West Bank. The US comes along and says, hey, Israel, you can have 30% of it now, so long as you don't touch the remaining 70% of it for 4 years. The US is turning Palestine into Israel's retirement fund. Like, you're gonna have to settle for the Jordan Valley and the major settlement blocks now, and you can have the rest of Palestine when you retire. And if Jared Kushner were in the room, he'd probably rant and rave about all the economic benefits, $50 billion in economic investment, 1 million jobs. He'd talk about a path to statehood, a demilitarized state. He might even talk about this fantasy tunnel connecting the West Bank and Gaza. Israel is gonna have control over both sides of the ends of the tunnel. That's very reassuring. I'm sure that's a recipe for peace. Nothing like being in an underground tunnel and not being able to get out. I hope they have good ventilation in that tunnel. They should have like oxygen tanks just like lined up on both sides of that tunnel. But the thing about all these great benefits that the Palestinians are gonna have is that they're all conditional. Whereas all the great things Israel is gonna get are totally unconditional. In fact, Bibi has already announced that Israel plans to annex the Jordan Valley settlements like this weekend. And we know the plan isn't gonna bring about peace. In fact, the Israeli military has already increased its preparedness for violence. I wonder why they thought a peace plan would lead to violence. That's a weird thing for a peace plan to lead to. And all of this is reflected in an interview Bibi gave to Fox and Friends, where Bibi was asked, what sacrifices are you making with this plan? And Bibi just kind of fumbled over his words.
So I'm wondering, what is the sacrifice on your side?
We agree. It's not only what we get, it's what we don't get. It's not only what we do, but what we don't do. We're going to leave open the map, so to speak, in such a way that we will not contradict in any way the outline that the president put forward. So we're going to maintain our policies in a limited area.
Let's just have a quick look at that map. Wrong map. Switch that map. Switch the maps. That is the incorrect map. What we see from this plan is that the Trump administration and Netanyahu are just defining the state they want the Palestinians to live in. Really, Bantustan they want the Palestinians to live in. It'll be disconnected. Each section of the West Bank will be disconnected from the other. Israel can chop off vital organs of the West Bank. And of course, between the West Bank and Gaza, Israel will have all of the West Bank completely enclosed. So they'll control the Jordan Valley and the border with Jordan.
The deal of the century.
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 The deal of the century.
That is all we've got for this episode of Middle East Tonight. But if you want to follow the deal of the century, then check out some of the other videos we've done on the deal of the century. We put out a video on Jared Kushner's economic plan, the Bahrain workshop. We did a video on Trump administration's plans and policies during his first 2.5 years in office. We have a video on David Friedman, the US ambassador to Israel. So check out those videos. And as always, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Until next time.